Thank you for joining us today. My name is Roy Kershner, and I have Brett in the studio, and we're going to be talking about Synapse Summit 2025, which I'm going to let you say where it's at and when it is.
Raymond James Stadium on March 25th. That's a big move for us. I'm excited to activate that space.
Very nice. So, Brett, tell me a little bit about your background.
Florida man, right? I mean, it's become my brand. Born and raised here in Florida. I had cops as parents in the Pasco County area and grandparents who are entrepreneurs. So it was a very different lifestyle going between the two, seeing people that built a business, multiple businesses from the ground up, and then the rigid structure of Pasco County Sheriff's officers.
What got you into Synapse? I know you've been part of it for many, many years.
Yeah, so the innovation and entrepreneurial economy of the greater Tampa Bay region is something that really started blowing up because of the work of Synapse, Tampa Bay Wave, these drivers of the incubators, accelerators, and providing a platform where people can showcase all the really cool things that they're doing. I always found that super exciting, right? To be able to give someone space. And I mentor for Tampa Bay Wave for USF and UT's entrepreneurship programs. But Synapse has just been this one thing where it doesn't matter if you're pre-revenue, maybe you don't even have the full idea formulated, or you're Brian Murphy, you've exited, or rather built a multi-billion-dollar company right here in Tampa Bay's backyard. Everyone gets to come together for one day. And I just think that's really cool.
Very cool. Now, talk to me a little bit about the day of Synapse. It's not just a day, there's actually a capability of going to a VIP party. I think it's the day before, right?
The night before. We're actually going to be taking over the pirate ship at Raymond James Stadium. I would say that's one of the really cool parts about this is it's like a homecoming, right? Now, we know over the last 4 or 5 years, the Tampa Bay area has absolutely exploded in terms of just a lot of net new people. So this will be a first introduction for a lot of people. But really, if you've been going to Synapse year over year over year, the Summit VIP party, getting people to leave has been a year over year issue.
Yeah. So the VIP, does that mean you need a VIP ticket?
Yes, you do have to buy a VIP ticket. We'll put a link in the description that saves your audience some money, but it's well worth it.
Okay, so what's the tiers? Like if you were buying a ticket, what's the tiers to get into Synapse?
VIP and general admission. We do have some lower tiers. We got a heroes ticket. The greater Tampa Bay region has a lot of prior military, active military, USOCOMs right in our backyard. We want them to be there. We want them to be able to see, I want to say in the 60s, 70s, 80s, up to 25% of entrepreneurs were veterans. That number has dwindled significantly. So we've got that. Of course, first responders are welcome to use that as well. And then a student ticket. Another big part of Synapse Summit is driving talent.
Okay. And so there's any college, any student in high school basically can come out for the day and check out the innovation.
Absolutely. We encourage them to come. We want them to see the opportunities in their backyard. For the longest time, USF was a transient university. You'd go to USF and you would leave and get a job somewhere else. They didn't realize how many major hiring organizations are in our backyard. And so getting them to see what that opportunity is, that was actually the impetus of Synapse originally. The original co-founders created it specifically because their kids graduated UT, USF, and then left because they didn't know it was here.
Yeah. And so if I'm not mistaken, Synapse Summit, you're going to have a VIP party the night before, which is the pirate ship. And then the actual conference itself is going to be held in the club section.
It's the club, the VIP, the suites. Yeah. If you've ever held season tickets, which I know you do.
Well, you only season tickets for club members because regular seating, they don't get to see all that type of stuff.
That's true. They don't get to come inside. So we're taking over that interior space. I think it is going to be a significant improvement over Amalie Arena. Now, listen, I love the Ice Palace or whatever people are calling it these days, as I just said, Amalie Arena. But for an innovation conference, it looks cool, but you've got these multiple layers plus an ice level activated. There's two things that we'd always get as feedback from attendees, the sponsors, and the exhibitors. One is that they could not possibly do everything, and that bothered them. Now, we love that. That's a sign of success that we were able to bring that much engagement. But the second thing was logistics. It was difficult to navigate. So using this space with two main stages on either end and a lot of really cool stuff in between, it's going to be a better attendee experience.
I think it will too. Absolutely. I think it's going to be amazing. And like you said, it's going to give a chance for anybody and everybody to go. Check out the club section, which is a gorgeous spot.
Yes.
I mean, just the place itself is beautiful. Needless to say, how many vendors and sponsors and different things are at this, because this is how many years going?
So since 18, we've had an event. Now there's been multiple events in multiple different cities. We're really refocusing on the greater Tampa Bay region. That was one of the large strategic pivots, and that comes along with the venue change. So Synapse originally was created for Tampa.
Yep.
We expanded and we did amazing things in Jacksonville. We've gone up to
Orlando,
Tallahassee. We had partnered with Emerge. At the end of the day, we looked at where is it that we are most effective. And under Andy Hafer, one of the original co-founders, he's come back as the board chairman. And of course, there's a lot of other people that are involved in that with the steering committee, but brought Synapse back to being by volunteers, for the community, by the community, focusing on the larger Tampa Bay region. We're calling that Polk County through Pinellas, Sarasota through Pasco. And of course, that bleeds out a bit, as you would assume. Florida is such a dynamic state when it comes to our different industries and pockets of innovation. But when we looked at the Council of 100 and what they said our region's best bets were, that's now what Synapse is focusing on. Those key industries, 6 pillars, which, to hit them real quick, cybersecurity, AI, you've got your general entrepreneurship, fintech, health tech, life sciences, bio is its own track, and then sustainability, resiliency, blue tech. And you can't forget national security, right? Dual use defense, USO comms right in our backyard.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the other thing is I always saw a heavy amount of volunteers. Do you need volunteers this year, or do you already have them?
We always need volunteers. Depending on when this airs, it may be too late. If it's up on the Synapse website, by all means, please. Wayfinders, individuals to help with the speakers. We've got nearly 100 speakers, all from coming through the community. Remember, volunteers is the driving force of Synapse. And hopefully going into 2026, we'll have a lot more committees way before the event happens.
Now, the other thing, if you want to break the news, what am I doing for Synapse? What is my company doing?
So, and thank you so much. Year over year, you have brought some of the coolest things. Back when it was at the Ice Palace, Amalie Arena, whatever you want to call it, you would bring Vader supercars, 3D printed cars. You would bring some of the coolest additive manufacturing projects before anybody else was really doing it or had any traction doing it. But you are yet again designed and printing the Innovation Awards. And I think that is just incredibly apropos, right? To have the Innovation Awards from Synapse Summit be 3D printed in our own backyard. So thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. So we're there. We're going to be in there having basically a booth, exhibiting, having additive manufacturing, 3D printing for the whole community to see. I think it's a phenomenal time in my world of additive manufacturing, 3D printing, because we're seeing a lot of change in the economy. We're seeing an enormous amount of change in tariffs. I just literally got off the phone with a company they use a ton of aluminum. And we actually were speaking with them about how they could transfer to some 3D printed parts and save a large amount of money. Because of course the tariffs on aluminum are going up, and then some of the times you don't need aluminum for some of the things that they're using them for. You could actually 3D print some parts and replace that aluminum and save a whole bunch of money. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be amazing. People that don't know ultimate 3D printing store and services. I mean, I'll just give them a little bit of information.
Real quick, because I've heard you do the story before.
Yeah.
Let's go into the really cool things. Let's talk about what you've got that's in space. Let's talk about prosthetics. Let's talk about some of the more exciting things. Because I've seen you. I mean, you've been in with Coca-Cola. You've been in replacing parts on manufacturing for Bell and for other large organizations. But what are some of the cool things that your company's done?
Some of the cool things is we assisted in helping 3D print like literally the city of Boston. And that sits in the Prudential building in Boston. So we 3D printed pieces for the whole city there. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I've worked with, her name is Anouk. She's a Dutch fashion designer, and she 3D prints clothing and 3D prints dresses. We've 3D printed parts on automotive parts, I mean, on cars and different things like that. We work with the largest company in Florida, which is super exciting, which is, believe it or not, Public Supermarket. And sometimes you can actually, if you know what you're looking at, you can go into every single one of their stores and you can see 3D printed parts, being utilized within the store. So it's not even just being utilized in their manufacturing facilities, but also in full retail stores. So, I mean, it's truly amazing technology that I love. I have a passion for, and we're going on our 10-year anniversary, believe it or not, 10 years this year. So we've been in business 10 years. We had extraordinary growth. If you followed us, we in 2021 we became the 6th fastest growing company in Tampa Bay by the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Stayed on the Fast 50 in 2022, and then also got picked up by Grow Florida as one of the top 50 companies to watch. So it's just an amazing thing, like you said, with prosthetics. I mean, that's kind of how 3D printing started. And, I love to be able to talk about this stuff. Is there's still a thing called enabling-the-future.org. It's a nonprofit where you can 3D print prosthetic parts and send them in, and they provide prosthesis for kids in third world countries. And I mean, it's just amazing that you can do that with this type of technology.
Yeah. So you're on the cutting edge of deep manufacturing, additive manufacturing as opposed to reductive. I got to imagine you got degrees from MIT, Duke, all these places that you went and got this formal education to be able to launch this company, right?
No. So I, believe it or not, graduated high school with a 4th grade reading level, really couldn't read or write. Never went to college, but I was truly lucky enough in my life to find mentors that kind of took me by the side and said, Roy, you just learn in a different way. And if you take your time, effort, and consideration and study things, that you can be anything you want to be in this world. So it's a big inspiration for me to let the next generation know that, the ability is there, and especially in Tampa Bay as we grow. I mean, we're growing so fast. It's not even funny. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things I love about your story and why I think it's so accessible to a lot of people that want to grow. Because of course I know what your story is, but you would think that somebody that's had the level of success that you've had in such a pioneering technology, and don't get me wrong, 3D printing in some way, shape, or form has been around since the late 80s, right?
Yeah.
But it's only started making significant traction at the industry level rather recently. And for you to be able to do that purely from the perspective of an entrepreneur, because you put yourself into it, you made this world yours and then built a business around it. I think that speaks volumes, because so many people think you've got to have the academic abilities in order to grow and scale something. And in fact, it's the heart of an entrepreneur that made it happen.
Yeah. And it's what you call 100% true entrepreneurship, because 3D printing, there's still no school for formal training. There was never, ever, nobody invented policies, procedures, manuals. Sometimes I still wake up every morning and say, why not just buy a McDonald's? It's all figured out. But I'm a true entrepreneur, and that's leading to our next thing. So I'm actually, expanding from the 3D printing store and all the things I've learned over the last 10 years. And I have Roy Kershner, which is basically Roy Kershner Coaching and Consulting, so that I can work with business owners in the Tampa Bay area to maneuver all the obstacles that happen within a business to be able to help them grow in leverage technology,
Yeah.
true technology. So, we know the buzzword in this now ever-changing world is AI, artificial intelligence. And that's something that I've been truly studying and becoming an SME in, subject matter expert, over the last couple of years, and wanting to understand how it was going to affect my life, how it was going to affect my business or my businesses, how's it going to affect industries, what I needed to know, how I needed to know it. And that's part of this new part of what I've developed, this coaching and consulting for Roy Kershner.
Yeah. I'm excited for that because there are a lot of phenomenal programs, right? You've got Traction, the entrepreneurial operating system, and these are great. These are amazing tools when you're building and scaling a team and you need to get everybody on the same page. But oftentimes it's about that one single leader of the organization that needs to become the
visionary.
The visionary.
Yeah.
Where we do that.
Visionary and implementer.
Right. So
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to have a visionary, and then you got to have an implementer to implement every single thing.
Right. Right. So I'm excited to see you on this new course. You're going to do phenomenal. I've seen what you've done with Grow Forward and these other organizations that you've been part of. So what's the timeline for that? When can we expect to be able to?
That's going to launch at Synapse. So we're going to have it right next to Ultimate 3D Printing Store and Services. We'll have another section that's roykershner.com and my coaching and consulting. So we're going to be bringing that there, and that's going to be really the start of it. And, I'm super, super passionate about it. I'm super excited to take every bit of things I've done wrong in this world, everything I've done right, but be able to start really shortening the gap for business owners so that they make less mistakes. So it's always great to have mentors, coaches, consultants that have already made those mistakes and then can teach you how to not make those mistakes and get to a faster, basically less mistakes and a faster revenue source, and implementing new technology of AI. I mean, it's just going to be it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun ride. And I'm really excited to work with a business owner to scale them. And that's the beautiful thing is I can pick and choose who I work with, right?
Yeah.
And I want to work with somebody that truly wants to grow and has a great heart, right? That wants to scale their business, but also scale Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna give you a hashtag, and you can have it for free.
Yeah.
I just came up with it because it's ultimately what you're doing is you're helping them outsource failure, right? You've already done the failure. Why slow down? Why hesitate? You can learn from the failing forward that you've done as a leader and accelerate your progress as a business owner. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll kind of end it here. It's coming up. Synapse is right around the corner.
Yes. Get your tickets.
Get your tickets and look up Ultimate 3D Printing Store and Services. Look up roykershner.com or, come and visit us while we're there. So, I'm super excited.
Me too, man.
So, all right. Thank you for joining us today.